So it's the best time of the year. The winter holidays are around the corner and I tend to wax nostalgic. The holidays are about home. If you're like me, you can smell those special, unique dinners, that fragrance of family gatherings. You can hear laughing, you can hear singing, you can see candles and gifts and children smiling. And when you think of these things and you go back to those joyful memories, you're probably thinking about home. Or you want to create those memories. You want to build them, and you think that buying your dream home is the best way to do that. Whether you're decorating for the holidays in your very first apartment or you're welcoming grandchildren this holiday season, home is always going to be where the heart is. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and I know they're ready to put that wanderlust behind them and maybe move out of that apartment or move out of their parents' house and get a place of their own. I like to educate and empower my clients, and so I want to help them with that big decision. And sometimes I have to help them by telling them that now's not the time. If you're watching this video, you're probably wondering the same thing. Is this the time to buy a house? I am hearing all about these low interest rates and the market, and things are moving so fast. Or maybe you're hearing other things like, you shouldn't be buying right now, there's no inventory, all these crazy things. This is for you. This is a video to help you decide if buying a house is the best thing for you or if renting is going to be the best. What we're going to do is we're going to cover the pros of buying your home or renting your home, and the cons, like what's not so cool about them. So we're going to break those down a little bit, go over each one, and at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a little present to kind of help you dig a little deeper and decide what's best for you. Let's start with the cons of renting, which is probably things that you've been thinking about now or you wouldn't be thinking about buying a home. Con number one, when you pay your rent, you're not building any equity. And we'll talk about that in a second. All your money, when you pay your rent, goes to your landlord. When you pay your rent, your money goes and pays your landlord's mortgage. It's not yours. Think about Monopoly, and you're playing with your friends and you're walking around and you land on Park Place and they've got 2 hotels on there. How do you feel about that? Not very good. But if you own those 2 hotels on Park Place and someone's paying rent to you, how does that feel?
I wanna be a millionaire in real life.
Con number 2. A lot of landlords have restrictions on pets or other special living conditions. But if you have a dog or a cat or a potbelly pig, it's probably really difficult to find a decent rental that's going to accept your pet. And most landlords just don't want to deal with the hassle.
Ew, 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 ew.
It's their house, their rules. Con number 3, you don't get the tax benefits when you're renting. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, any money you're paying toward your rental doesn't come back to you. Con number 4, your landlord can come and check in on you and the home whenever they like. In the state of Arizona, at least you get a 48-hour warning. Con number 5, you can't do any renovations to the house. You can't make it your own. In certain cases, your landlord may let you paint it a different color or structure a couple things a different way, but in most lease agreements, it states that you must turn the home back to its original form before you move out. So what are some pros of renting? Probably the number 1 pro is the freedom. You can pick up pretty much whenever you like, barring your lease agreement. But if you got offered a new job in New York or decided you wanted to spend a month backpacking in Europe, you have a little more freedom there than if you were to own your home. Pro number 2, you don't have to pay for any repairs. So if the disposal stops working or the water heater's broken, all you have to do is call your property manager and they come and just take care of it. Pro number 3, there's less cash up front when you go in for a rental. You usually have a security deposit, maybe a cleaning deposit, maybe a pet deposit. And normally, if you're a good tenant, when you move out, you get most of that back. So it's very little upfront cost when you're renting. So what about home ownership? What are the pros and cons there? Probably the biggest one is that less freedom that you would have. So if you did get a job out of state or wanted to do some extended traveling, you'd need someone to watch your house, or you might need to sell it or rent it out, and those could be kind of a hassle. Con number 2, you become responsible for all your repairs. So if that garbage disposal does go out or the water heater stops working, you are responsible for making sure that you have saved enough money to fix them, or that you put in place a home warranty plan that might be able to handle most of the repairs. So I did want to throw this out there just because we're thinking of the cons of home ownership. I want to go back to that money flittering away. Think about if the water heater does break and you have to replace it, and it costs something like $1,200. That sounds like a lot. It sounds like a whole month of rent. But 1 month of rent. That, if you were owning your home and not renting, would be in your pocket a little bit more. Con number 3, there are more upfront costs. So you're going to have a down payment. You're going to be putting down money on property taxes, on home insurance, on closing costs, and things like that. And that can be overwhelming and a little scary. But know that those costs do pay for themselves over time. In most cases, if you live in your home at least 5 years, you recoup all those costs and are building equity in your home. And con number 4, it is not what you call a liquid asset. So although you can build value in your home, that value can't just be immediately pulled out like a bank account. You would have to sell your home or do a home equity loan or something like that to be able to pull that value from your home. So the pros of home ownership. Pro number 1, when you pay your mortgage payment, you create equity, and equity is super important. So home equity is basically a owner's interest in the value of a property. So home equity is basically the market value of the property, what it's worth at the time, minus any liens that would be on the property. So this would be your mortgage payment or a construction lien or something like that. So the difference of those is your home equity, and it's a value. You can turn that into a larger property. You can turn that into a business investment. You can turn that into money to do home renovations. There's a lot of things that you can do with equity. But the pro that we're really talking about is that every single time that you make a mortgage payment on your home, you are adding a little bit more equity each time. That grows over the years. Which leads me to pro number 2. If you decide to pay off your house completely, it's yours forever. It is your property. You can will it to your children. All you have to do is pay your property taxes every year. Pro number 3, it's land. It's your land. You can do with it what you want. Unless you live in an HOA, there might be some extra rules there. But in most cases, that means you can plant a garden, you can have chickens, you can have dogs, cats, potbelly pigs. You can have that she shed or that man cave, however you want to do it, it's yours. Pro number 4, you get the tax benefits. There is a tax deduction that you can do every year if you own a home and you're paying on it. If you want more details on that, you want to make sure you talk to a CPA or an accountant. But even if you are filing online, it will ask you in the process if you bought a home in the past year and help you through those deductions. pro number 5. You can renovate the home how you like. You can paint it any color. You can put in those granite countertops. You can put in whatever you want. It's your house. You can make it your own, which leads me to pro number 6. Owning a home is still to this day one of the greatest American dreams. This is why people come to this country, is so that they can own a piece of it. It's still an American dream for anyone, for anybody in America. It's an American dream. Go buy a house. Anyway, so those are some pros and cons of buying a home versus renting a home. And you have to decide what actually matters to you. Maybe you don't care about the tax benefits. Maybe you don't care about having to travel to Europe and someone watch your house. But you have to decide for yourself. And I hope this helped a little bit. And if you want to dig deeper, I do have my renting versus buying worksheet that I'll link below for free. And it will let you dig deeper. There's some pages on figuring out your finances to determine if you're financially able to own a home. Go over your mindset and your motivation for buying a home and making sure that that's clear. And hopefully that helps. If I missed any pros and cons, comment below or ask any questions that you have. I'd love to connect with you. And if you did decide that now is the time to buy a home, I'd love to help you out. My contact information is below, or you can just go to the azrealestategeek.com. Remember, home is not a place, it's a feeling. And no matter what you decide, you can always create a home wherever you are. And remember what Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz said.
There's no place like home.
But I want to throw this out there too. No.
Throw it in there. Just we're going to say hi.
I'm not kidding.